What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mr. Straight Facts Show. I'm Mr. Straight Facts. Let's get into it. So today, um, the Republicans met, and Democrats, of course, but the committee to discuss the Medicaid cuts. Now, there was a protest today in the in this meeting, and one of the saddest things you can go look at. I'm not going to show it, but one of the saddest things to see was a lot of the people, it was 25 people arrested. Many of them were in wheelchairs. Some remote control wheelchairs, others, the old school wheelchairs you do with your arms. But yeah, these officers just pushing them out. It was the saddest thing to see because you're talking about $880 billion that these guys are trying to cut. And it's going to harm a lot of these people who are in wheelchairs, these people who may be on a cane, may have back issues, may look like they're totally fine, but really can't work a job because they can't lift any weights. But now they're going to be made to justify that they're sick, and if not, it can be taken away from them. Well, they already had a process of you getting on this process to begin with. I mean, this on Medicaid to begin with. These people already qualify, but you see Donald Trump and his minions, they're always trying to cut back so they can give themselves more money. I am starting to understand the mindset of a Republican or an uber capitalist. And it is a deep, dark place to live. These people care about money just like a person who is on life support cares about taking their next breath. It is everything to them. Other humans mean nothing. Because, you can't look at these people who made signs and put them on their wheelchair to protest. The idea of what it took for them to muster up the energy to prepare themselves for a situation where they just can't get up and go to the bathroom, put themselves in a position that wasn't going to be productive for them, comfortable for them. And these people wanted to arrest him. Now, there were some people that said, don't, you can get him out of here, but don't arrest them. But 25 of them were arrested. People who are sick and afraid, knowing they need this. It ain't a situation where, I might not qualify. They know they should be able to qualify, but they don't trust this system, and nor should they. Because the way it's been working, you could be sick and just not be white. And there's a reason for me to say that. Because look what they've been doing to brown people, kicking them out, saying it's because they were criminals, and not even the ones that are criminals. Remember when they were complaining about these sanctuary cities? It wasn't even about criminals. It was all about, we gave them so many millions of dollars to stay in like sanctuary cities, and they're getting a life and everything like that, and we work so hard and they're getting our money to be. They were complaining about that. But I haven't heard anything from those same people. I haven't seen on my timeline these same people complaining about these South Afrikaners coming here and doing the absolute same. Actually worse. Because they're not sending these South Afrikaners, and this is just one wave of them, the 59 or so that came. There's going to be more. But they came here and they're sending them to red states. And what do you think is going to happen to those people? I want to give you an understanding of how this country has worked in the past. In the 60s, I know many of you have already seen the famous video of Martin Luther King saying words similar to this. I know I'll mess it up. But he said they allow the European immigrants to undergird them with millions and millions of acres of land while not even giving a damn about the black people who have been here the entire time. But what wasn't said in that speech was, because it was hyper focused on black folks, was the reality that white people who were poor, the same people that Martin Luther King realized when he started the Poor People's Campaign and said, we all are poor. We need to be going against the rich. And that's when he was unalived, when he had that solution. White people were starting to rise up at that time and say, wait a minute, you're giving land, millions and millions of acres of land. I've been here and I can't even afford an apartment. And you're giving these people coming overseas to our country millions of acres of land. And he goes, and I love how, as I did a video a while back ago, I called it Not Only That, because Martin Luther King kept going. He said they undergird these Europeans, immigrants, with millions and millions of acres of land. He goes, and not only that, it gave them land grants. And not only that, they gave them subsidies to not farm that land. And not only that, he kept going and going and going. The things that set these immigrants up to have not only a productive life, but a very wealthy life, because they had land, which means it was an avenue that they hopscotched over the Americans who have been here to start creating wealth immediately as they got here. And you also got to look at the fact that at that time, what they also did was allowed these people to become citizens faster than those who have been waiting to become citizens. See, there was always a waiting period. You would come in, and then there was a waiting period. You had to work here for so long. Then after that, you had to wait for so long after that to be able to qualify to become a citizen. These people skipped over not only black folks. We weren't immigrants. We were enslaved. We were brought here. But Africans who may have came here at the time, which really didn't happen until later, but you get the point. Not European, other people who came here that weren't a part of what they considered the European groups of people. They didn't get it. The Latin people coming here, the Asian people coming here, they didn't get this millions of acres of land. So you see, here it is, 2025. Many, many years since 1960, right? This was in the 60s. So you're looking at what? 65 years? 65 years later, what's going on with the South African people coming here? They're being taken to, they don't call them sanctuary cities. You notice they haven't mentioned it calling it a sanctuary city? They call them refugees. They don't qualify to be refugees at all. But they've called them refugees because they said they were getting murdered by the African people. And then he said, and they took their land. They took a portion of their land. They didn't take all of their land. And they weren't killing them. There's no evidence of it. They just say stuff and never produce one death. You notice how when they said Latin people were unaliving American citizens and they drugged that one white girl's life and family, but they benefited from it, so they didn't have a problem with their daughter being the poster child for this racist ideology that all Latin people are the same as this one Latin person that took their family's life, a daughter's life. They drug her name around everywhere trying to promote, this is what's happening. See, we got evidence. See, we got evidence. One person happened out of millions and millions. They were talking about 20 million people. You pull one out of 20 million, any human being would take those odds, because nobody, not white, not black, not any other culture in this country, can say 1 out of 20 million have committed a crime. That's the odds that anybody would take. But that's not the case. Couldn't prove it. But they had that one woman to kind of drag it through the news. Then there was another person later. They started dragging that through the news. They only got like 2 people to drag through the news to try and make most of Americans or the scared Americans believe that this was a reality. And here we are, they're talking about these people coming over here, these white Afrikaners, they're coming over here. And you don't have like not one example of one of somebody that got killed over there. No story. All you got is just talking about it. It's not proof until you actually have some kind of, or it's not true unless you have some kind of proof, some kind of receipt. They brought no receipt. And told you that these people are refugees. And then after that, said they're going to send them to all these states. You got to ask yourself something. In the 1960s, they offered these people land. They offered them subsidies. They offered them education, free education. They offered them all that. And they offered them, if they farm that land, some of them, for 5 years, they could have that land. Others, so that they wouldn't compete with the white people already there, they were given subsidies not to farm. You heard me. They gave them money to sit on the property for 5 years and do absolutely nothing on said property. Don't farm jack. And 5 years later, you own it. Pushing a certain class of white immigrants ahead of other white people, but then parade it and say black people pissed off about it. White people didn't say nothing. Just sit and took it. I wonder what the white people are like today. I've been seeing some on different platforms, and they've been kind of pissed. Seems like some of them are getting it. That even them, they're being pushed down because you're bringing in people who were basically wealthy farmers where they came from. And like I said, as far as you know in the news, they just brought them here. And there's really no incentive. Like, why would they leave land that they had just because they were taking pieces of their land because, hey, you stole it to begin with. And the government just says, we're going to give it back. And that's it. Not all of it, but they're giving pieces of it back. These groups of people decided to uproot a place they lived in their entire life to come to a country they know nothing about. Ask yourself, if you are going to leave, not the country, if you lived in your hometown, let's just say that is Iowa, right? And they just tell you love Iowa. It ain't like you one of those people who, hated Iowa. You want to get out and go to a big city. You don't even like big cities, right? But you don't know what it's like because you never left your town. You're going to leave Iowa, the comfort of you got land and everything. But when you leave Iowa, you got to give that land up. Can't go back to it. And move to California, let's say. Iowa is cheaper. California is more expensive. And you're going to move there with no job. And you're going to somehow give up your land and come to California without any incentive. Like, people are asking you to move. The government's saying, yeah, we need more people in California. Do you really think you moving to California, you're going to do it for zero? No. No human being would do that. You know how I know? Because when you have a job, not a job, a career, because jobs don't necessarily do it too often, but when you have a career, let's say you're a salesperson for a soap company, right? And that company wants to replace you. You already work for said company, but they want to not replace you, but transport you from Iowa and say, you know what, we got a bigger company in New York, in California. We want to move you to California. Now, most people don't know this if they haven't had a career. They've had mostly a job. Some may. But if that company is going to transplant you because they think you're so good, they're going to move you to a bigger company, in a bigger part of their company in California, they will set you up in a house. They will front you thousands of dollars until then. Sometimes you have to pay it back. Sometimes you don't. You can stay in said house for as long as it takes for you to buy your own crib. They will increase your income to live in that same area just as comfortably as you lived here. If you lived in Iowa, was making $150,000 and life was good, they'll move you to California and give you $350,000 and a place to stay so you can save and all the gas money and everything if you mean that much to the company. They rooted these people from Africa. And you think they just said, oh, you can come and stay in South Carolina? Shit. I got a house to sell you under the sea that's waterproof. I mean, it's insane to think that that's a reality. And why the media is not digging deep into that, digging into their finances, digging into the fact that, oh, wait a minute, these people have to be vetted. You don't know if they're coming over here and have some other, ideals of America. They could hate America. They could be inward terrorists. We don't know. You would study everybody else coming into this country to find out if they're like a terrorist. But you brought these white people from Africa that I guarantee you don't like regular ass white people from America. You know they got some stereotype about American people. Almost every country does. And they're going to come into this country and automatically think, oh yeah, America's had all this. That. You know they have biases. But you're going to give them a jump start just so that you can have more white people in the country. You can't tell me it's anything else. You had Elon Musk say literally that American citizens aren't smart enough for the jobs in which they need. They need to get these HB1 visa, H1B visa people into this country because they need them more than they need you or me, because we're not smart enough for the positions in which he wants. See, that's a way for them to say it, but it's more likely you're not white enough. And the people that love us really aren't smart enough. So they're not looking into the pool of educated and smart people, because those people can't stand these people, being Trump and MAGA and all that. They're the ones. Their followers are dumb. They don't want us working for them because we're too smart. We're the ones that's going to want to raise. The other ones are going to want to be sycophants and do whatever they tell them to do. So they're going out of the country to find sycophant white people and demonizing people of color in that country. Yet we haven't seen anything evil with black people or them on any news with South Afrikaners. None whatsoever. They just don't like the fact that the government's starting to realize, hey, they're woke. They're saying, they did steal the land, and it's about time that these people and their families get back. Where have I seen that? Oh, Native Americans in this country. We've given back land to Native Americans, which meant that white people who thought they owned it had to give it back. Whether it be individuals who owned it or whether it be the government that owned it, they had to give it back. We've gotten past that. We didn't call them, any names. We didn't call anybody refugees. We just saw people who rightfully owned it, got it back, fought and got it back. It was the right thing to do. This is the right thing to do in South Africa. And they're trying to demonize the people for doing the right things and then be able to bring them over here and have them jump in front of Latin, Afghan people who fought alongside us, yo. These Afghan immigrants or migrants, whatever you want to call them, but they fought alongside our military people to keep our children safe, our soldiers safe, and risk their lives just as well as anybody else's to help us win that war. And we guaranteed them that we would take care of them. And Donald Trump and his minions jumped some South African people who haven't done shit for us in front of them, and not only in front of them and the Latin people who have been waiting and have spent billions of dollars into Social Security, into taxes, and could not reap anything from it because they're not full citizens, but they've contributed to us. People who haven't contributed a fucking dime are coming to our country and literally going in front of everybody just because they were born with the skin that people in this country think should win, just because of their skin, not because of their work ethic, not because of their dedication to the country, not because they believe in patriotism and they love America. None of that. All because they were white. There's no other reason. Of course, money. As you know, Trump had to have a quid pro quo. These people had to have cash. These first 59 are probably the ones who paid $5 million to get here. I'm not sure, but I would hope that investigative reporters are doing their due diligence to find out if there's been money put into any coffers in the increments of $5 million apiece. That's what this country has been doing. That's what it's been working on. Not people who come to this country, give me your tired, your yearning to be free. Not those people. Give me your white and rich as can be. That's who they want. To jump in front of all of us, the middle class. How many of you guys saw the video today? It's a clip of Donald Trump. Somebody's recording him. We got the back of him, or like the back side of him, the back right-hand side of him. And he's talking to another gentleman. I don't know who it is. And he's talking about the Crown Prince, I believe. And he says he's strong. He has a strong leader, a lot of power, and things of that nature. And he said when he speaks to people, like stand at attention, and just has that kind of power. He told this gentleman, that's what I want my people to do. Yeah, he's talking about me and you. He wants us to basically bow to him and say, yes, sir, just because he's the president. Never mind the fact that we're in a democracy and the crown prince is in like a constitutional, like or semi-constitutional monarchy. We're not in the same game here, bro. And that's what he wants. Americans to bow to him. Well, Donald Trump, that ain't never happening, bro. I don't care what happens. I don't care what you guys decide to do, start taking over democracy. You're just going to have to take everybody out. Ain't nobody following that but your nitwits. The rest of us, It would be one upheaval in this country if this man thinks that people are going to bow down to an idiot. It's just not going to happen. But that's what he said. And I'm like, no, bro, it ain't going to happen. Nobody's going to sit here and bow down to you because you believe at some point in your life. I'm telling you, his parents did not love him because somehow they didn't tell this fool that this ain't a reality. But you realize you can get people who have fear to do anything. Absolutely anything. Today, one of the main stories again was this $400 million plane or jet. That's going to be in the news front and center until they decide what they're going to do with that. But you got, leaders, the Republican Party, going against it, some of them. You got others saying things that are just insane, like, didn't we receive the Statue of Liberty from France? I'm like, we received half of it, yes. I don't think he thinks we got it. I think he believes we got it all from France. But the bottom half, America built. The stand, the actual, the where it stands on, the base was built in America by Americans. We paid $250,000 to build that. Not American government. The American government didn't want no part part of it. Even the French government didn't have any part of it. It was the citizenry that donated money. They got the 250,000 for the base, and then France built the actual statue for another 250 grand back then. Mm-hmm. But it was brought to this country because of one reason that this country still lies about, that most people didn't know about until we started doing the research. The Statue of Liberty was never about immigration, ever. Statue of Liberty is about the ending of slavery, democracy. Finally, America became a democracy. Bathaldi is one of the guys. I keep getting mixed up between the guy who actually presented it and the person who actually designed it. There's two people. One guy designed it. The other, well, he came up with the idea of it. The other guy was the sculptor who actually made it. It was not meant for immigration whatsoever. It was hijacked to make it about immigration, and also hijacked to make it about 1776. There's nothing about 1776. That thing was not put into the ground here in America until after 1865. Well after, like 1867, 68 or something like that, whatever it was. Which was not a bicentennial of 1776. Mm-mm. It was at the end of slavery. 1863 was when they put that together. Around 18, it was proposed around that time, 1865. This guy was so proud of America finally living up to its standard of saying it was a democracy and all people should be free. And they loved that because France was now under a situation where they were moving away from a democracy, and they did not like that fact. And to see America actually claim it, they wanted to celebrate that fact. Now, you can go look up the history of it, but the reality is, even when he brought that up saying, oh, France got, this, he didn't even know the history of it. None of it. It's insane. And I guarantee you they know the whitewash version. And if you don't believe me, go look up the history. I would love for you to do it. What was in the Statue of Liberty's hand was a tablet of 1776. The real thing that was in her hand was shackles. It was broken shackles. She says they had shackles around her, slave shackles on her wrist, and they were supposed to be broken so that you know that slavery was over. The racist white people, the rich white people also, because the rich white people raised $150,000. And the way they got the rest of the 100, they needed to raise 100,000. They raised 103,000, I believe. And the way it was the guy who started, I think his name was Nobel, who had, who was a writer and had a newspaper here in the United States, a Jewish man. This Jewish man put in a newspaper, just like back in the day when you know anything about newspaper, people love to see their names in a new newspaper. So he came up with this brilliant idea and said, hey, you can get your name in a newspaper for whatever it was, $1 or whatever it was back in those days. And these people will be so excited to have their name. So every time they get a paycheck, they was putting like whatever it was, 50 cents or $1, whatever it was, to get their name in a newspaper. And it'd take a little while, and then they get notified and whatever. And they go, oh no, better yet, the idea was you never knew when that newspaper was going to have your name in it. So the idea was to also increase newspaper sales. So he enriched himself because that money went to him. The money for putting your name in it went to the statue. So it was a promotion as well. So he ended up raising 103, well over the 100 that they needed. And that's how it became the Statue of Liberty in this country. That's how they ended up building the bottom half. But only people who had a say-so in it was the 150,000 that was put into it, and those were the rich white people who were hella racist. And they had edits to the designer saying, we don't want that. Because in all honesty, it wasn't supposed to be a white woman either. They made it into some kind of Greek goddess. No, it was supposed to be an Afghani or a woman of color that it was supposed to be. But that was his first design because he was going to make this same design for the Nile or something like that, the river. He was going to make it out there somewhere. They denied it, so he kept with the same theme. and was continue building it. You can go online and see it. And if you go to the Statue of Liberty, I'm being told they now have it on display, which they hid it for so many years. So anyway, that's a little bit of history. I often go off into that. But getting back to the leader who brought that up, trying to negate the fact that, Donald Trump was going to receive a $400 million gift, and they try to make it seem like, oh, it's to the government. If it's to the government, then he should not be able to take it with him when it's over, correct? Exactly. They think we're stupid, and their people are. But anybody with a brain worth a damn knows if a plane that costs $400 million that's brand new and you want to use it as Air Force One, they're going to have to trick that out as Air Force One, which is going to take anywhere from 3 to 5 years, which that's how long the other plane that they need to have built, that's how long it's needed. The one that they're building for to replace this one takes about 3 to 5 years. So they will both be ready around the same time. And you're going to take a $400 million plane, and it being brand new to some degree, I guess, you're going to take it with you. For what? These planes are for everybody. Air Force One puts in commission. It's not just for 1 year or 3 years and then it's gone. That's stupid. But he's going to try and do that. And people are talking about it in the news like it's the thing that can happen. And the thing that's so crazy is that we're literally talking about Donald Trump. This man has bamboozled this country into believing that he can do anything. And because he's gotten away with so much stuff, they talk like everything is possible with him. It's only because they capitulate and allow that everything is possible to be a reality. If you had a stern hand on it and said, no, it's not going to happen over our dead body, it wouldn't even be a thing. But no, they act like this man has a hold on everybody. He ain't got a hold on nobody over here. Not afraid of them, none of that. But it lets you know that there is something wrong with our politicians, that anybody has something on them that they sit around and capitulate to a lot of it and talk about it like it's a possible thing. It should be, it's not possible. Next. It's our Constitution. Next. And you would think that these people would be like, wait a minute, if he's messing with the Constitution, that means he can mess with the Second Amendment. Take your guns away. Should be definitely next. You can't mess with one, because think about it. If you do mess with this one, Republicans, MAGA, I'm speaking to you. If you mess with this and allow him to break the emoluments clause, you have set a precedent that the next person that comes in, let's just say we get tired of Democrats and next president is going to be an independent. You think that person ain't going to do what Donald Trump is doing? They going to come in and rip everything apart and be like, okay, you didn't do nothing to him, you didn't do nothing to me. Oh yeah, and I love the fact that we don't have no guns. Take all their guns. You can be pissed all you want, but you set the precedent. Just because you have a tyrant on your side that's fighting for you, that's just crazy, doesn't mean at some point in time there won't be a Democrat or an independent that will do the exact same. Don't set this precedent, and it won't be that way. Be hard and stern to the Constitution, and we'll keep our democracy. Otherwise, it falls apart. So it just doesn't make sense what they're doing. But allowing him to have that plane will be stupid. Now, another thing is that Donald Trump been around the world and he's on his tour around Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and all that, right? So he hung out with the Saudis today, the Crown Prince, and it turns out while he was over there, he ends up getting making some kind of deal worth $600 billion. Now, there's multiple stories on that 600 billion. They say he's bloated that 600 billion. Some say it was already a deal, like weapons and things of that nature was already a deal before he took presidency. I didn't get a chance to check all that out, so I'm trying to give you all the scenarios of what it possibly could be. But he still made this deal with them. He brought Elon Musk with him. Again, why is this man in our government issues? He's not elected by any of us. He should not be in any meetings that have to deal with the government. None whatsoever. But I got a strange feeling this $600 billion is going to find its way into his pocket somehow. Not all of it, but some of it is going to find its way into his pocket. Because he shouldn't be there. It should be an actual elected official or someone he hired, not some Doge hired dude that should be over by now. We're May something. Isn't this 130 days over? I mean, I'm not sure, but it should be close to it. But he's going to travel on a tour. And this is the same people that gave his son. Oh, and his son was there too. His daughter's husband, the one they gave $2 or $3 billion to at the end of the presidency. He was there too. He doesn't hold an official job anymore, y'all. Why you there? This is a government thing. Why is the Trump family and sidekicks in an official meeting and not like a senator or someone that is effective for America so that they can make sure that Donald Trump don't say something or do anything that gives another country some insight to something they shouldn't know. We all know this man loves to brag, and especially when he's in a position where he feels like he's the cheaper or the poorest person in the room. He's willing to give up anything for that. Donald Trump is easily pimped out. You give him money and he is your high price hooker for the night. Everybody that offers this man money, he's willing to do things. Don't believe me? Today, he said he was going to, I think it was either release some type of sanctions. I think it was on Syria. And he did it at the behest of the Crown Prince who was sitting in front of him. You should have saw the Crown Prince. He's sitting there like, I just bought this fool. He did exactly what I wanted him to do. And then Donald Trump said, look what I do for the Crown Prince. What are you talking about doing for the Crown Prince? It's not your job to be doing stuff for the Crown Prince. You're doing things for the American people. And if it is so doing, helping the prince, fine. But it needs to help the American people, not just him. Every time this man is on a global stage, he makes America look dumb and dumber. That's what I'm calling his presidency this time around. The first one was just dumb. This right here is dumber. Did you recognize that every president, pretty much every president on their first trip outside the country as president, their first trip outside the country has almost always been Canada. Canada's had priority. Why? Because they're our biggest ally. They fought with us with the most wars. They lost most lives, the more lives fighting alongside of us. Been a trade partner, just beloved pretty much by Americans and everything, beloved. Right? Donald Trump, his first presidency, he went to Saudi Arabia. His second presidency, he's making the Saudis the number one stop, the number one priority. And it's just so crazy how every time he stops, he gets money. America is for sale. This man is selling America left and right. What are we getting out of it? I had to dig in and try and figure out what do we have that's so that we need so much from the Saudis. Of course, oil, right? But the biggest thing is money. Money. And we're going to talk about, I wrote a speech for you guys about that because I'm tripping off the fact that we're supposed to be, and I looked it up, it's true. We're the richest country in the world. But you got to break down why we keep asking people for money when we got money. Seems like everybody would come to us and be asking for money, seeing as how we're the richest country. We got to break down that whole idea of what it means when they say we're the richest country in the world. It gasses us up, but it's not exactly what it sounds like. We're going to get into that. But a part of this deal that Donald Trump made today was $142 billion for an agreement with the Saudis uh, to offer them weapons. Now, I understand we have to do what we have to do. I get it. Whatever it is we got to do it for the American people. And, more for morals' sake. And I stand on morals, but I understand that our country is not always a moral country. It's an economic and a financial situation, and sometimes the morals and the finances don't match. But because of those, trying to juxtapose those two, one evil, or I guess you can say both of those are evil in a sense. Depends on what type of warped morality you may have. But if it's all about money and safety, then you have to make deals that don't necessarily attach to the majority of what American morals may be. I get it. I don't always like it, but I get it. In America, and the reason why I came up with this is because um, making these deals with the Saudis, understanding if you know anything and if you dug anything deeper, because there's a lot of levels to digging deep into this, and I went just below the surface. I didn't go like super deep, but I realized that the Saudis are funding Hamas. Hamas did that strike on Israel, and unalive I think 1,200, 1,300 citizens or people, because it was American citizens, dual citizens, and things of that nature that were there, and took them hostage. Oh, side note: the guy they just released, right, sent him to meet with Donald Trump, I guess, in the Saudi area. He was just being held by the money in which Saudi was paying Hamas to keep said individuals. Why send him to the other enemy? I, I, I don't get that, y'all, but hey, it is what was supposed to happen. I didn't see it happen, but that was they proposed it was going to happen. Send this guy that just got freed to see the president in the country in which was funding his capture. Now, they say the country doesn't necessarily do it. It's the rich people within the country, but it's not the government. I I don't know about all that, because you're living in a monarchy. You can literally tell them you can't do that. It's not like it's a democracy, but I digress. So that's the crazy part. All these different things thrown up in the air because of their oil. One reason, but not the main reason, is the finances, them giving us money. And then you see, we have to juxtapose that because we're paying Israel billions of dollars to fire upon, uh, you know, Palestine and Hamas, and we're on both sides of the spectrum. But money is king. So you see how I say the morality of it all doesn't add up, but the finances and the safety and the power and stuff like that, it's all over the place. So I kind of get that. Don't necessarily like it all. But the reality is that we're in bed with a lot of people that American citizens don't want to be in bed with. And what gets me is that Donald Trump and his minions in this presidency since January, it's been 5 months or four, however you want to count it. Um, they were gaslighting Americans and saying we can't be beholden to China because China, they're doing their thing and we don't want to be, we want to get our own manufacturing companies. We want to do this, we want to do that, blah, blah, blah. So, okay. So you don't want to be beholden to them and you want them to pay for it. But the Saudis, remember Democrats and I guess independents as well, were trying to wean us off of oil from other countries and produce here. Uh, and so that we would not be beholden to the Saudis. Because if you go back, uh, all the way back to Osama bin Laden, right? We as Americans trained Osama bin Laden. We gave them weaponry. We taught them how to do it. We taught them how to fight. So you're going back to the same area and giving these same people that bred Osama bin Laden. That's why we wanted to wean off of the oil, is because we didn't want to rely on a country that would actually give birth or power to a person who did that. Because at that time, the prince, Osama bin Laden, is the heir to the king that was there, right? So that was their son. They exiled their son away. He went to go live off in the mountains. But you know what they didn't do? They didn't cut off his money. He still was rich, getting money from Pops. And he used that money from Pops to fire upon us. It's crazy how all these things are intertwined. But we're still in bed with this country. We're still relying on their oil. Even though we got our own, we're still relying on them. And you're worried about being relying on manufacturing from China, but you're not worried about being aligned with another country for their oil. Excuse me. And their money. So you're taking their money and you're doing them favors. Immediate favors, not overtime, immediate. Quid pro quo. Oh, he gave us $600 billion. Oh, what did you need? And then announce it in a speech. And then look at everybody, look what I do for the crown prince. How is it that you're a good negotiator and you always look like the simp? He didn't get up and applaud you that we saw, got up and said, I'm glad that I got this relationship with him. He's such a great guy, blah, blah, and wax his ego. I didn't see that coming out of him for you. If he did, they didn't air it. It's just crazy. Now, when I had a question for Americans, but based off of a statement that we often say, but I don't believe most Americans understands what it means. I could be wrong. I'll ask you here in a second. Seeing how much Donald Trump is out here simping for money and dollars from other countries when we're supposed to be the richest country in the world, why are we going around on this begging tour to give me something so I can relieve something of your or whatever you need? They're investing in our country, which means we're going to owe them money back. Hopefully, it's an investment in which if we lose, they lose. Right? Seeing as how it's an investment. We win, they win. Not something we have to pay back. But we're always told that we're the richest country in the world. What does that mean to you? I'll tell you what it meant to me originally, and then I had to sit there and think about it and dig deeper, and that's what I wrote this about. Once I found out about it, I wrote a little speech about it. What does thank you, Lynn, for the bless you. What does America being the richest country in the world mean? For me, I literally thought, based off the pictures I've seen over the years, I'm 54, so we done seen from the 70s in my youth, we done seen Sally Struthers with, third world people eating manna and, barely got flies in their face and pot belly. We done seen that. We done seen other countries and Latin countries where people have barely had anything. We've seen African countries where people are mining things. We just see so much poverty and think like that entire country may be like that, or a majority of it. And even if it's a minority, it's still, when rounded out, these countries are poor, even though they have rich in resources, right? So that, in my head, partially wrong, mostly a stereotype. I mean, partially right, mostly a stereotype. Me saying we don't have that in our country, so we that's one reason why we're rich, and because we probably get paid more than everybody else. We probably put more into the till than anybody else as far as like paying taxes and things like that. So we have a healthy, robust economy than anybody else's. So, and we probably have average citizens probably have more wealth than the average citizens of other countries and things of that nature. And that's what I was thinking when we said that. That Americans, politicians tell us that we're the richest country in the world. What if I told you none of not even close to what I'm saying was true? I mean, it's not that. What if I told you it wasn't that? What if I told you that there's other countries that are richer than us, but we say we're richer than everybody else? It's not really, let me take that back. It's not really the country. Let's say the citizens. That's it. That the citizens aren't the richest. Let me go ahead and get this to you. So after this, we're gonna close it out. But I wrote something for you to kind of give you a better understanding of what it means in this country when they say, and the name of it is The Illusion of Wealth, America's Riches versus the People's Reality. All right. We're often told that we live in the richest country on earth. That phrase is repeated in classrooms, campaign speeches, and news headlines, politicians as well, as if it's meant to comfort us, inspire us, or explain why we should expect more from our lives. But today, I want to challenge that phrase. Because while America is the richest country on earth by GDP and national wealth, most Americans, you know this, are not rich. In fact, most of us are struggling. So the question becomes, how can the richest country on earth have so many poor people? The answer lies in understanding the difference between a nation's wealth and its people's wealth. You'll understand what Donald Trump is saying when he said we'll get trillions and trillions of dollars and we'll become wealthy. He's talking about the country, not you and I. Yes, America has the largest gross domestic product in the world, over $28 trillion. We lead the world in corporate revenues, stock market, capitalization, military strength, and technological innovations. But here's the twist: that wealth is not evenly shared. It's not news to you, I'm hoping. The top 1% of Americans own over 31% of the nation's wealth. Meanwhile, the bottom 50%, now that's over 160 million people, own just 2.5%. Let me repeat that. The top 1% of Americans own over 31% of the nation's wealth. Meanwhile, the bottom 50%, which is over 160 million, mind you, there's only 340 million people in America. So 160 million only own 2.5% of this nation's wealth. Nearly 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Around 40% can't afford a $400 emergency without borrowing or selling something. The average net worth of a white American household is $188,000. I want you guys to remember these numbers I'm about to give you, because I'm going to juxtapose them to something else later, okay? Do it again. The average net worth for a white American household is about $188,000. For black families, it's around $24,000. For Latino families, it's around $36,000. So when you say America is rich, we have to ask, who is America? Is it the government? Is it Wall Street? Or is it we, the people, the everyday citizens trying to afford groceries and medicine? Now let's get to the juxtaposition. We'll pick Switzerland. Let's compare what I just gave you to Switzerland. Switzerland is not the largest economy. It ranks around 20th globally on the GDP. We're number one. It is 19 levels below us. But when you look at the median wealth per adult, this story I told you flips. According to the Credit Suisse, or Swiss, sorry, the median wealth per adult in Switzerland is over $250,000. The median wealth in America per adult is around $79,000. Switzerland may not be the richest country in terms of total money, but the average citizen is far more financially secure than the average American. You want to know why? Well, I'm about to tell you. Because in Switzerland, healthcare is guaranteed. College is affordable. Obviously, wages are higher. Wealth is taxed fairly, and public infrastructure is treated like a luxury. It's treated like a right, not a privilege. That's the difference between a nation rich in numbers, which is America, and a nation rich in people, like Switzerland. $250,000 for the average family in Switzerland, just opposed to $79,000 for the average family in America. So we may be the richest country that's not talking about the richest people Why does this matter? Because phrases like "we're the richest country on earth" are used to justify why we can't change. Even as people drown, even as our people drown in debt, fear, and scarcity, we hear these things, and I quote, "We can't afford universal health care." Another quote, "We can't cancel student loans." Another quote, "We can't raise the minimum wage." But we can spend $877 billion a year on the military. We can give tax breaks to billionaires. We can bail out banks and corporations while letting families lose their homes. We have the money. We just don't have the will. Now, what can be done about this? This doesn't have to be our reality. There are things that can take place, but our politicians, Senate, councilmen and women, president, Supreme Court, the whole entire system knows there's a way, but just don't want to do it. The things we could do, and that we need a whole new crew of people becoming senators and councilmen and women that are focused on these things and vote enough of them into office so that we can get them passed. What we can do, name 5 things. We can tax wealth, not just income. Close corporate loopholes and hold billionaires accountable. Invest in public infrastructure, education, and healthcare like we believe people matter. They believe in taking care of their people as it's a luxury that we should have in Switzerland. Here, we're like, let them do it. We don't have to deal with that. We want the money so we can invest in it and have fun and buy yachts. Rebuild an economy where citizens benefit, not just shareholders. Think about that. That's a really good one because you think about it, many Americans don't have stock, never have owned stock. Therefore, the wealthy kind of don't even really give a damn about us. We're not invested, we're not vested in them at all, so we don't matter. So when they're making decisions, they're just talking about this small core of people that have investments. While the rest of us sit out and watch them get wealthier and wealthier because we're out here buying these products that they're investing in. And they treat citizens not like we should benefit because we're not shareholders in it. We're consumers. And we need to switch that around, focus on the people. And the wealthy people need to realize they're the minimum. They're the minority, not the majority. So they won't feel it until we put the fire and make them feel the heat. And the only way we can do that is start to create systems and ideas to shift the narrative. This is a part of what I call reclaiming the American dream. So yes, America is rich. But what good is that title when the people who built this country, who wake up early, raise families, teach, heal, build, and serve, can't feel that wealth in their lives? The American dream wasn't meant to be a stock portfolio for the elite. It was meant to be a promise for every one of us. And if we want to reclaim that promise, we must stop measuring our greatness by the size of our economy and start measuring it by the well-being of our people. Because a country isn't truly wealthy until its people are free from the chains of the financial fear, empowered with opportunity, and able to live with dignity. Then the American dream will become a possibility, something that we strive for, and not something that's so elusive that many people can't reach it. That's all I had to write. But you get my point. America, the country, is rich in resources and cash flow and different things of that nature. But its people are not the richest. And we're not the poorest by far, but we're not the richest as citizens. So when you hear these politicians and these rich people boasting, we're the richest country in the world, they literally are not talking about you. But they gaslight you to make you feel like it's possible. Yes, you can be, while at the same time doing things like putting tariffs on you to keep you down, knowing that these tariffs are not going to really hurt them. Because once they let off, your flow of money is going to go to them. And the things you need to buy, from toilet paper to pencils to dolls or whatever it is, you still got to buy from them. They have no problem raising those prices up. And if you have nobody else to go to, you're going to enrich them. I keep telling you, we need billionaires and millionaires that care about the people. Billionaires and millionaires that care about the people would eat these tariffs and still keep things low until we ride with this. And then once Donald Trump lifts up, they would take it back up to a price because they care about the people and realize that the people are hurting, then I too must hurt. And if you, myself included, found somebody that it was a billionaire or a millionaire that would ride or die with us like that, you'd be loyal to that product and that company. At least I would. Because when I needed you, you was there. And when I didn't need you, I came to you because you was always there for me. And I can always look at the fact that you didn't gouge me. You helped me when I was down. You didn't talk down to me and say I was poor and need to pull myself up. You gave me a handout, a hand up. Never a handout. I still have to pay for it. But the reality is, if you ride or die with me like that, I'm riding or dying with you. But they have the mentality is if I have you trapped, I'm going to fuck you over as much as I can. Because you have to come to me. And what I'm building is to say to them, we don't need you. We can choose you. And you should be lucky that we do. But when I get through, we ain't going to need you. You're going to have to beg us for your services and your products. It's about that time the American citizens did their thing. And that's what I'm working on. All right, let me recognize my lovely members here. Oh, you gone? I see Monica. Got you before you left. Take care, Monica. Much love. Appreciate you. Kristen Thomas, I see. Thompson, I see you in here. Rude Interplanet Janet, I got you. Nomadic Mariner, appreciate you. Who else we got in here that are members? I'll get to my members, giving them a shout outs. I think that was it. Let me keep going all the way to the top. Troy Scott, I don't know if you're still here. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. I'm going to keep going to the top. I want to give everybody love that are members. All right, I think that's it as far as members. All the rest of y'all, I appreciate y'all for being here. I really do. As always, you know, I do this because, first of all, I love facts. I love the truth. I love going deeper than the surface. and giving my people who follow me, people who see me, more in-depth information than just the, the news. But I won't cover every story in the news because I find what's important, that I find important, and I go a little bit deeper to give us a better understanding. Not all of us know, some of us do, but I want to give that insight. So now, if you didn't know that America is a rich country, but our people aren't the richest. And that just doesn't seem right. If we're going to be the richest country, then we should be paying our people. Because you got to think about this for a hot second. If Switzerland has less people in their country than we do, and they do by far, and they give free health care, right? College is cheap. All those perks I mentioned. And the average citizen, y'all, is $250,000 they have a year. $250,000 is the average citizen, where in America, the average is 79,000. What use is it to be the richest country in the world if your citizens are making 150 or damn near 200,000 less than the average citizen in a smaller country that offers shit for free? How on earth? And think about it. Switzerland is a place that everybody sends their money, where it's protected. They don't ask questions. And they have a fair tax system there. Boy, I don't know what we doing wrong. But if they can do it, we sure as hell can do it. Let me look something up real quick. And Switzerland, it's not a socialist country. It's a democracy. Anyway, I think we need to start looking at examples where people are actually um, doing better, because it doesn't make sense if we're the richest country in the world and we're not getting paid enough to have a living wage, to be able to buy a home. It just doesn't make sense. And so I look at it this way: as the group of us start to grow with this and I start to build things, it'll be moving toward that direction, so that we too can do that. As many people as we can possibly get, to be able to start creating opportunities and wealth for us and our families, doing the things in which these millionaires or billionaires are doing amongst themselves. That to me is how we need to start revamping this. I'm trying to take down billionaires who don't care. That rhymed. I didn't think about it. Take down billionaires that don't care. Sounds good to me. I might write that down as a slogan. Put it on a shirt or something. Yeah, that might be a good slogan. Also, the same happiest country in the world gets cold and darkness for a long time of the year. Short summers, but people are happiest people on earth. I heard that, Rude Interplanet Janet, that Denmark was that way. I used to have a friend in my 20s. I worked in the entertainment industry. She was from Denmark. Really, really nice person. But anyway, I appreciate you guys showing up, showing out. We're about to end this particular show. And one of the things, I appreciate is that, again, you guys doing your thing. I'm working on the Discord. I'm working on the Zoom to set everything up, the templates, so that we can have, I don't know how many people I'm going to be able to put on one screen. but I'm gonna try to put as many as possible, but enough that we're not so like small on the screen, and where we can connect. Hey, Kristen, how you doing? Uh, Down with the billionaires, stand for something positive. Yeah, definitely. That sounds good too. But those are the types of things that I'm working on, and you'll get more details about it coming soon. Give me a couple weeks. I'm trying to build things. I've been working like crazy here lately, and find myself taking naps a lot. I'm 54, so I've been taking naps a lot in between stuff, from one show, one platform to the other, doing a lot of lives now. So I'll bring you the news. Got to go look at some more stuff tonight, uh, and probably make a couple videos or something like that put out tomorrow. So as always, you know what it's all about. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you when I see you.